My name is Gail White.
My name's Will Holzer.
My name is Amber.
I'm Evan Barnett.
Brandy Barnett.
My journey to Christ was a long one, actually, 50 years to be exact.
Born in San Antonio, Texas. I did grow up in Canada. I lived there for about 7 years or so. And then I moved to Wyoming for a little bit, for about a year and a half. And then I moved back down here.
I am born and raised in Cypress, Texas. I've been here my entire life.
Kind of lived in a bunch of cities, all through Texas, and we landed in Houston, 4 years ago now. 2 little girls, 6 and 7. I'm the president of Typhoon Texas Water Park, and Katie, and we have a sister park in Austin.
Didn't go to church growing up. My immediate family, my parents, we didn't, but I would always go with my grandparents. And then when I was about 15, I started going to church in my hometown by myself, and made that choice in church camp and youth group and all of those kinds of things.
I grew up in Sacramento, California, and our family, we never really went to church growing up. My parents, we always had, it's not that we weren't believers, we just weren't really involved. And when we had our 2 little ones, we wanted to grow up in a Christian home, and we were trying to get connected for a long time, and we kept moving, finding our roots and then moving, finding our roots and moving.
I didn't really have much faith. I mean, not that I didn't have faith. I was a person that, I think I was selfish. I think that I did what I thought was right for me. I had my own plan. I did what felt good in the moment. I did a lot of things that I regret. I wish that I hadn't have done.
I was one of Jehovah's Witnesses, and internally the members refer to it as the truth. It was all I'd known all my life, so I just took for granted that my relatives, did the research and they were sure that it was the truth. But fast forward, I was excommunicated a little over a year ago, and with that comes shunning.
We went to church every Sunday. My parents were both married, and I have a little brother, and it was a really good childhood. So it was part of just how I grew up, knowing about God. And so I remember being baptized and accepting Christ at a really young age. I don't even actually remember accepting Christ, I just know I did. It was part of just, I went to Sunday school every Sunday, and I went to church every Sunday with my parents, and I wore a nice dress and stuff. And so it was just very much a part of my growing up. But it wasn't quite until I became much older that I realized that my faith wasn't actually my own. And whenever I was a teenager, I really took kind of a derail from that course, and partying and being cool and looking cool and doing fun things was way more attractive than being the good Christian girl that I was raised to be. And so that kind of changed the trajectory of my life a little bit.
So I lost all my friends and family that I've come to know my entire life. You see people at the grocery store, at the gas station, and people that you used to talk to, look at you like they've never known you in your life. And I've had a pretty big network of friends, and I have a large family, and now it's just my daughter. She was very supportive through the process. So it's like starting all over again, It's like learning a new language in a foreign country, starting all over.
Went to parties, I drank, I experimented with drugs a little bit, and it looked very much out of control. And a lot of those choices ended up, I found myself pregnant at 17 was kind of where the game changer for me was. So.
For a long time, work was my icon. Everything was work related. It wasn't Evan worked at, it was Evan is work. And being so self-involved with that, it was hard to be a good husband and continue to grow our relationship where we're growing together, and then throw our 2 daughters on top of that.
Immediately whenever I found out I was pregnant, I was terrified because my world had just been completely turned upside down. I was about to go off to college and quickly realized that probably wouldn't be happening the way I had envisioned. And I just knew that because of the circumstances around me getting pregnant that I would be doing this alone. It was scary, it was hard, it was really difficult. I felt a lot of embarrassment and shame having to raise him on my own. It was, you go to the preschool drop-off and you're the only, and I look really young and I am really young, and so it's embarrassing, continually through that time. And you're like, oh, are you his sister? No, I'm his mom. So it was kind of a repetitive thing, but But actually, I found this church where I just really connected with, and through that, through the people in the church, I really found like just, I guess, some restoration there and some healing from my distance, and kind of really got it together. And I actually met my husband there, and it really felt like God had just wrapped my life up in this beautiful bow. Like, I was working at this church, I was involved in youth ministry, I had this new husband that, loved my son and loved me, and it kind of felt like my life was just like, this is it. Like, I've made it, I've arrived. Like, thank you, God. We can move on from now. And I finally was like getting to be a stay-at-home mom. Being a teenage mom, life was really chaotic. I missed a lot of stuff, working, 2 jobs and going to college and things like that. So it kind of felt like this was like a season where I just got to breathe and kind of enjoy the fruits of, all the hard work and suffering that kind of led to this place in my life. It was 2 months after I quit my job that my husband actually was killed in a motorcycle accident on his way home from work. That was the point where I did actually experience a lot of bitterness and a lot of anger and a lot of mistrust in God. Like, how can you be a good father and allow this to happen? About a year later, I finally think that me and my son, I kind of decided, like, we need to switch it up. We need to go somewhere else. And we started the process of church hopping and church shopping and trying to find our place and our fit. And it was exhausting to go from place to place and still not feel. And I would pray about it, like, God, like, let this be the one. Like, let me find my people. Let me get connected. And I just felt like he was not answering. I just felt like there was dead silence from him. And I really felt totally alone.
I'd been going to church regularly, for 50 years. I started to feel a void in my life, and one day I turned the television on. Dr. Ed Young came on. That was the first time I heard him preach, and this was maybe in August. That was the first sermon I ever heard. By the end of the sermon, I was just in tears, And so I listened the next Sunday, and then the next Sunday, and then the next Sunday. And it was always the same feeling, like, man, this sounds like the truth. I looked up the church and found out that there was a campus, close to where I live, up north. I went for several months, but then I stopped for about 6 weeks, because I thought, well, maybe you're rushing into things, after it's like leaving a relationship. When you leave a relationship, you don't want to rush into another one. So I thought, I'll just stay home and read my Bible. I bought a brand new Bible, but I was just compelled to go back.
One day, we were done. We made a decision that either I was going to leave the company or we were going to find a new career path for myself. And right when that happened, kind of using how did God intervene, it was to the minute. I still remember the day. I got a phone call right when we needed to make a decision that, hey, I got this opportunity for you in Houston.
When we decided to move down here, that was just a huge leap of faith, saying, okay, we're gonna do this, and I don't really want to, but I feel like we need to, and I'm out. I mean, this is all you, and just help.
To give you a quick little story, when we first decided to go to Second, she said, hey, we're thinking about becoming members, and they came to our house and sat on our couch and just wanted to kind of get to know us. And for us, that was pretty powerful. This was definitely an eye-opening experience for me, and he provides.
A really important relationship that kind of brought me to Second, actually, and it was a long process, was meeting a family that attended Second, and our sons happened to get on the same football team, and I was just kind of immediately drawn to this family, and they, of course, pretty much right away invited me to Second, like, hey, come check us out, the door's always open, but yet I still didn't come to Second. So the season ends, and we, separate a little bit, our sons are at different schools, and the next season comes around, and lo and behold, they're on our team again. And again, they invite me to second, and I kind of just, oh yeah, yeah, I want to go, but I don't know. I just kind of wavered back and forth. And it wasn't until the end of that season, and actually I think it was after the beginning of the new year in January, that I was like, I'm going to go to second. And I did. I walked through the door. It took over about 1.5 years for me to actually take them up on their offer and come to second. And they never pushed me, they never pressured me, but they always held the door open for me, and they always just made me aware of the fact that like I'm wanted here and I can come anytime. And so finally I did. And whenever I walked through the doors, I really felt like it was home. It felt very comfortable for me. I quickly got involved and plugged in, and next summer I was at beach retreat, jumping right in both feet. And it was amazing to kind of feel like I'm part of something that's much bigger than myself again.
Initially, whenever I started going to second, I didn't really want to go to live and stuff. I didn't really feel like I knew many people. It was hard for me to go, but my dad mentioned beach retreat. He said he thought I should go, and so I went. I made a bunch of friends, and I felt like I got more plugged in. I remember worshiping God and singing to him with all my friends, and it was amazing. He made me feel just like loved.
I went to the Christmas Eve candlelight service, and it was a highly emotional service for me because I felt the presence of the Lord. And I accepted the invitation to let him into my heart, which I thought I had done many times before. But that night was different. All my life, I've heard of God. Sure, I've heard of him, But that night, I saw him, and he was pointing me in the right direction.
New beginnings are so good, and when we came here, finding a foundation not only with our new community, meaning not even our street, to our church. The unique thing is they're all intertwined. Our church, our street, our extracurricular activities are all centered around Second Baptist, which is such a blessing to us. I would say that Second Baptist has helped us keep accountable to that, keeping God at the center and not Evan Barnett at the center. I think it's a minute by minute, day by day aspect. We always try to keep it at the forefront. We're truly thankful and blessed that we're in this position that we are, and continue to work on it.
A church home with a church family that we can grow in. I love being plugged in. I love being able to be involved in things that I really truly feel matter. I also think that they do a fantastic job at setting up the Sunday school classes so that you have your small groups, and you do have multiple options with Sunday school classes. The kids program is incredibly important to us as well. I mean, our kids love church.
You don't have to get involved if you don't want to. You could sit in the back for years and years and never get plugged in. But once you decide to take that step, it's really, there's no turning back from that. You're gonna get caught up in it. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be exciting. There's gonna be more and more things you can open yourself up to and challenge yourself with, and but it takes a step of getting out there and just doing something.
One thing I really like about Second was it was really easy to get involved. I have become a much bigger part of the church than I ever had been before. I'm on the jump team. It feels like a home. It feels like a family. I love doing it. I love being with the kids, and I love being able to be a part of their walk.
It's a breath of fresh air. It really is, through our journey of finding a church, that it really has been just taking a deep breath and realizing that not only are they part of your family, your community, but it's also been a place where we've actually developed some long-lasting relationships, we believe.
We have gotten plugged in to Sunday school and church and just doing things. So there's family night, there's men's Bible study, women's Bible study, play dates, class lunches. We do tons of stuff.
Our kids are super excited. They love jump. Second Baptist for us has been definitely an engaging journey for us, where we're not just bystanders, we're participants.
I felt like Jesus was calling me closer. Okay, you know what the truth is now. It's time to come a little bit closer. And that step was baptism.
I always wanted to be baptized. The opportunity came up, and it was the right time and right moment. And I'll never forget it. It was actually Easter. The whole family was cheering me on, and it was really something I won't forget. Putting that jersey on, saying that, hey, I'm biggest fan, and I'm here to not only tell the world that, hey, I'm a Christian, but to do it for myself as well.
Being baptized at Beach Tree was like a rebirth. Like, it just, probably one of the greatest decisions I've ever made. I'm so glad I got baptized there. It was awe-inspiring. Everybody knows me now as somebody who follows in Jesus Christ.
And so I feel like my life now, whenever I say like I rely on God to get me through the next day, like I mean it. Like I really do. Jesus to me is my rock. Absolutely. I feel like in my life there has been a lot of sinking sand. Whenever I felt like in each stage when something the earth would be kind of taken out from beneath my feet, I knew that I had a firm foundation. Jesus
means compassion and grace. No matter how many times you mess up, it's just, he'll always come back to you. He'll always love you. And that's what I love about him.
Jesus is the end all be all. Everything is from him.
He's my compass. He is the direction. He's my confidant. He listens to even when I have questions of why or what or don't understand. But he's definitely the leader of my life and our family.
And the scripture that came to mind was John 14:6, when Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. There it was. It was like a light bulb moment. It had been in my face all along. Choosing Jesus, to follow Jesus, came at a price of my family and friends, you know. I'm at peace with it. I'm at peace because it's like Jesus, it's like he left the 99 and came and got me and put me in his arms, what I was looking for. You know, I was looking for acceptance, and I didn't get that, but he was there. He's never left me.
And I've seen him pull me out of a pit before, and I know he can do it again. So I got pregnant whenever I was 17. He fixed it. He healed me, he restored me. I lost my husband, became a widow at 27, but I know he can do it again because he's proven faithful in my life already. And even if he hasn't yet, I know he still will.
I realize I still have a lot to learn, some unwinding of deeply embedded indoctrinations, you know, and I still have a lot to learn. But Jesus set me free. I've experienced a love like I've never experienced before, and I thank God that he opened my eyes, even though I took a big, long detour, and it was, you know, sort of turbulent. I feel like I'm home. Yeah.